Of that. They've seen $2 million worth of ads attacking me for it. In the 1980s, a lot of people went broke, including the lieutenant governor who declared bankruptcy in 1982. And while he came out of it, and it was okay that you did, he still didn't pay his unsecured creditors. And the lieutenant governor was sued by River Oaks Bank because he refused to pay an $800,000 loan. He went to court, and the courts made him pay that back. And so the lieutenant governor's had some problems too, Joe, as I have. But he's built a successful business, and I congratulate for that. In the 80s, a lot of us, this was a tough time. And so I went broke in the 80s, and there were some taxes that were due. The businesses went broke. But my wife and I, a school teacher, and myself, and I wasn't making much money then, we paid all those taxes. And what he's talking about in all those commercials happened when I was 35. I'm 64. I'm a successful businessman. I pulled myself up with the help of others from my own bootstraps. I don't owe any taxes. There are no tax liens. All those things, Joe, were back from 1985. And I learned from those lessons. You learn from your failures. Am I a person who's made mistakes? Yes. Am I perfect? No. But I serve a perfect Savior. And that gives me peace every day, Joe. I'm proud of what I've accomplished in life. And everything you see in these ads has been nothing but lies, distortions, and half-truths. Like I said, he has his own financial background. I haven't made it an issue. I'm not going to make it an issue. And since he's made a $1 million attack a week, at least people should know he had some problems too. And you know what? He's a pretty smart guy, and he worked his way out of it like that.
All right, Lieutenant Governor.
No comparison. I've never had a personal bankruptcy. I've never stiffed creditors for $800,000 and had 28 tax liens on me. I was what you're talking about, I was a shareholder, not even a majority shareholder of a company. Yes, when the banks put us into a Chapter 11, yeah, there was a bankruptcy, but it wasn't a personal bankruptcy, and we had just about as many assets to pay the liabilities. But I wanted to make sure that everybody got paid. So I paid the $832,000 out of my own pocket for the bank loan, and I paid all the other secured creditors. I pay my bills, Dan.
All right, Senator Patrick.
We don't pay all your bills. You owe $1.4 million from your last Senate campaign. And just this week, you told the Houston Chronicle that you didn't think you had to pay the one pollster because you weren't happy with his numbers. He didn't lose the race for you guys. He just polled the numbers. And secondly, just on this bankruptcy one more time. Folks, I went bankrupt. I don't know what else to tell you. And I took the responsibility out of my pocket, working and my wife for a few years, to pay all those bills that those businesses owed. And the creditors, it was all dealt with in the courts. Everything I had was dispersed to creditors, and we moved forward. And all he does is attack on personal issues and not talk public policy.
Our next question is from Lavos, the Houstons, or Lozada?
Lieutenant Governor, oil and gas exploration is booming and driving the economy across the state. Some believe, though, that Texas should diversify its economy. And concerns continue to be raised about fracking and horizontal drilling and the long-term environmental impacts. Do we need to invest more in alternative energy to diversify and minimize environmental effects? And if so, what alternative energies?
You know, I would encourage you to talk to Scott Tinker, who is the state geologist, and he will walk you through the analysis by the state of Texas on literally hundreds of thousands of wells which have been drilled. The controversy on fracking is a well-intended, I'm sure, but it has no basis. I don't know if I can do this with a TV, but if this is ground level and your water table is below, the rules in the Railroad Commission are as long as you drive your casing down below the groundwater level and you have a good cement job, there's no possibility that you're going to have any contamination into your water level. Most of our wells today are 5,000 and 9,000 feet. If there was something that came out of not fracking, but one of the chemicals, it would only take 100,000 years to get to the surface, and it would be potable water, drinkable water. So I do not see a problem at all. And I've looked at this and looked at this, but I must tell you, I've been in the oil and gas industry, and so I may be a little prejudiced on this, but that's because we've always tried to carefully follow all of the environmental protections.
All right, Senator Patrick.
Oil and gas exploration, drilling, it's the backbone of our country. It's the backbone of this state. We need a lieutenant governor who's going to work to fight the EPA at every turn. I'm not worried about fracking. What I'm worried about is President Obama trying to stop it, or another Democrat president trying to stop it. The oil and gas industry is the reason our economy is booming. I'm proud that former Speaker Tom Craddock has endorsed me. He's from Midland, Odessa, the heart of the oil country out west. And the vast majority of the oil and gas producers there. I'm proud of that. In fact, I'm proud that 26 conservative House members have endorsed me. None have endorsed Lieutenant Governor. And 7 senators, or would-be senators, are working hard for me. Folks across this state, the majority, 90% of Tea Party voters, people in West Texas and East Texas.
Go back to the Lieutenant Governor.
Thank you.
He said East Texas.
That's kind of hard to do when there's at least 1,000 of those same people that have endorsed me. Texoga, the Texas Oil and Gas Association, endorsed me, not endorsed you. I don't know how you. I don't know how you come up with your numbers, but when you're talking about the U.S. Senate race, let me just remind you, Senator and ladies and gentlemen, that I've already invested over $1.1 million into that campaign to pay bills and to create the legal basis for the restitution so everybody gets paid. I've paid my bills.
Governor, thank you. That concludes the panelist rounds, and we have enough time for just a couple more questions. So for this round, I will ask individual questions of each candidate. You will have 45 seconds to respond. There will be no rebuttal in this round. Senator Patrick, from gun rights to land use disputes and beyond, there are times when state policies are in direct conflict with those of the federal government. When courts rule in Washington's favor, some passionate Texans argue we should defy such rulings, nullify them. Some of these folks maybe are supporters of yours. How do you serve the law and also satisfy these constituents?
First of all, you follow the Constitution, right? And you represent what's in the best interest of Texas. And you fight the government at every turn. An example would be the TSA bill that I had on the floor in 2011, I guess it was. They came down, met me in the back hall, and they said, Senator Patrick, if you pass this bill, which would have allowed our law enforcement to literally arrest some TSA that would grope you in a way that would get them arrested on the street corner, they said, if you pass this bill, we may close down every airport. I didn't blink an eye, and I said, well, it's your call, I'm going to have to pass this bill. And we did, Lieutenant Governor and I, we did pass that bill at the end of the special session. So, Craig, you just stand for the Constitution, you stand for liberty, and you fight the federal government at every turn. All right.
Lieutenant Governor, Governor Perry turned down funding for Medicaid expansion despite the fact that Washington would be covering 100% of the cost the first 3 years, 90% thereafter. Knowing the number of uninsured Texans who would benefit from Medicaid expansion, would you be willing to work with Washington to develop a customized approach?
No. I was involved in all of the conversations on Obamacare. I think Obamacare is, forget the rhetoric, it doesn't work. We've just seen it doesn't work. That's why over the last 6 years, I've been working to develop free market reforms, free market alternatives to Obamacare. My wife, who's sitting right over here, her father's a prominent doctor. Her brother's a prominent doctor. I've worked with them, countless doctors, on coming up with free market reforms. I'm a free market guy. Get government out of the way. And those reforms, according to Senate Bill 7, will provide incentives for better practices and better outcomes.
Got to wrap you up, Senator Patrick. We may at times disagree about what to spend money on, but roads, bridges, water infrastructure all can only last.